So tonight we're going to be talking about another avenue that you can do for really increasing your reach. I think after we've been in the business for a while, I know for me being in the business for over 14 and a half years now, obviously my warm market is kind of dried up. Anybody feel like they go, where's my warm market? Or Jackie, you just moved to a new area. You don't have a warm market there, right? So what are we to do? Okay. And we used to do a lot of these events, gosh, I don't even know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and they were always great. And for some of you that were doing those with us, please chime in, because I want this to be more of a conversation than me just kind of training on you. But the networking luncheons, who here did networking luncheons on a regular basis? Way back when?
I did.
Do I know you did?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I did. I always have. I still do.
Yeah.
Do you mean like
Jenna, you do.
or something
Yep.
different?
I used to do a lot.
Pardon me, Mel?
Do you mean like with a networking group or like something that you host on your own? Is there something?
Something you host on your own. Have you not done that yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what happened was I was talking with Judy and Sarah and just talking about how do we get into some networking groups. And so that's kind of where we started was let's get out and meet some people. Sometimes it's just time to go meet a whole new slew of people. And so part of that is leaving the house. Where do we go for that besides just living life? And getting into a networking group is a good idea. The problem is that sometimes those networking groups can be stressful. Some of them, if you miss more than once or twice, you can't come back, or they only allow one person in nutrition in the group ever, or they're at crazy times in the morning, or just kinds of, you have to have a lead or you can't come, or 2 leads. And so if you are going to look at a networking group, try to get into one that's more relational based. And so I became the president this past couple of weeks of my networking group, which is National Association of Professional Women, NAPW. That's a great one. If you sign up, do ask for the lowest membership because they try to upsell you a little bit, but you don't need to do that. And so we were talking about kind of what's available, and Judy was saying, gosh, she feels a little frustrated sometimes because she lives in an area that is not in Central Phoenix. It's out so to Sioux, and there's a few networking groups there, but not a lot. And then I said, well, why don't we start our own? And I thought maybe it's time for us to brush off the old networking luncheons that we used to do. And they were great. And so what you do is you set up your own. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have this constant same people coming in. You could even buddy up with, another Juice Plus person, a sideline, an upline, a downline, whatever, and host a luncheon for 8 to 10 people. Okay, so the first thing of that, and you guys probably want to take notes because I'm not doing any visuals for this, but the first thing you want to do is find a place where you have a private room, okay, a place that doesn't cost a lot for, lunch, and talk to them and see if you can reserve a certain day and get a couple of menu choices. We did 2 or 3 menu choices. Usually we did like a sandwich and a couple of salads. And in Colorado, we just serve water because that's all anybody really drinks here. When we did them in North Carolina, we always had to serve sweet tea because they all expect sweet tea with lunch. So it kind of depends on where you live. But we tried to make the menu between $12 and $15, including tax, tip, and gratuity. Okay, so meal, tax, tip, and gratuity. Okay? And you guys feel free to interrupt me anytime, okay? And so then what we did is how they have those, you go into a restaurant and they have the bowls with the cards, or you walk in and there's bulletin boards everywhere with people sticking their cards up there. Why do you think they're sticking their cards up there? Because they want you to come by and pick it up, right? They want somebody to pick up that card. They're trying to make a connection. And so people like us that are small business owners, it's expensive for them to go out and advertise. And so the best form of making a connection is through word of mouth and referral. So pick up those cards, or maybe for your first one, maybe somebody who cuts your hair, somebody who's your banker, who mows your yard. Try to think of maybe some services. Who do you know that sells a makeup line or something like that? Okay, so obviously you don't want to invite competition into it, but try to find 8 to 10 people that would love to just share more about their business. And you can just call them up and say, hey, I'm hosting a networking luncheon on Tuesday from 11:30 to 1, or whatever day, right? And I like to do 11:30 to 1. And I'm looking for somebody in, this is really important verbiage here, you guys. I'm looking for somebody in your area of expertise for our luncheon. Would you be able to make it on this Tuesday? And I'd set up 2. We have one this Tuesday this month, or we've got one in a couple of weeks or next month, okay? Would do either of those work for you? Lunch is whatever it is, 12 or 15, whatever you had, okay, make sure you're covered. And, you know, if they're wanting to come, you can either ask them to Venmo. We didn't have this back then, Venmo you or PayPal you the money, or you could set up an Eventbrite for that. If you trust them, you could just collect when they come, okay? But you want to make sure that the restaurant is not going to make you guarantee the 10 or 12 people or however many seats you have in that room, okay? I think you'll find that most people will come and they'll be excited to come and make a connection. And so you arrive early. You're going to bring either, what I like to use is I just take my handy dandy laptop. I bought one of those presenters for 30 bucks, okay, that I can stick in my USB. And I would just do the Healthy Living Revolution, or you could even do it around the shred or whatever you want. I like the Healthy Living Revolution for a networking luncheon because it's a little more broad about what Juice Plus is. Okay, so when they get there, you've got your waiter lined up to make sure as soon as somebody comes and sits down, he's getting their order. And so while they're preparing lunch, you set the rules for the table and you just, welcome them and you say, so happy you could come. We find that, the best way to increase, our business and meet new friends is through word of mouth. And so thank you for coming. What I'd like to do is have each of you share a 1 to 2 minute commercial about your business. Please have your cards out so we can pass those, when you're speaking. And, then lunch will come. And while you guys are eating, I'm going to be presenting some information about how to stay as healthy as you can so you guys can run your businesses, better, longer, whatever you want to say, okay? And then at the end, we'll have 15 to 20 minutes left to kind of network and just have some fun. So that's kind of how you do it. It's so simple. Now, the other thing is if you don't have a laptop, you can print those slides off onto, I would probably do it on a maybe 11 by 14 if you can. You can send them to the printer and you can even have them laminated. And I had a big bag of boards I just carried with me and I would just hold them up, one at a time and hold. And then what's nice about that too is that if you are a little bit nervous about presenting, you could do your notes on the back of those and have them there so they don't see that you have those, but you can see what you're gonna, bullet point what you're gonna say. So simple, easy peasy, right? So yeah. Questions, comments?
Reagan, is it appropriate to not only talk about Juice Plus, but our business opportunity at the same time?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of those people could, maybe be looking for an extra stream of income.
We have a lot of representatives at our luncheons. And, at the end, I would just say when I went through, here's your options for getting started, and that's already built into that Healthy Living Revolution. I always like to say, and my mission is to inspire, our mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. And how many of you, when you heard this information, because through that presentation, I'm asking them questions like, how many servings did you eat today? Do you know what a serving is? Okay. How many other people do you know that aren't getting enough fruits and vegetables? Or you could even go into the 3 questions. Some of you supplement. Do you know other people that supplement? How would you like to help me be a resource and share some of this information with others? Who else did you think of that could use more fruits and vegetables? Well, and they'll all answer, my mom. And okay, well, just so you know, it's $50. That gives you the right to join as a member. That allows you to get your Juice Plus at the best price possible. And then if you even share with 2 other people, we actually have a bonus as a thank you of $100 for helping us to inspire that mission. And you can do more than that. That's how I would share my business story right there. That's how I got started. Was never intending on sharing this with anybody, but what I found was our family was so blessed. Maybe I'll share a little bit about my story and say what I found is I was sharing it with people anyway, because we all share something that's good anyway. So it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, you might even point out there that if they're thinking about adding the fruits and vegetables, they'd be saving almost $120 just on their capsule order, and it's only $50 to join as a member. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So, just make it easy for people. It doesn't need to be a long-winded, now we're going to do a virtual franchise presentation. When they're done, and you want to have order forms with you and pens, okay? And so, at the end of it, the way you close it for anybody that's interested to get started, here's the order form. You pass it out just like you do at your wellness presentations with a pen. And I would have starter sets for people. So anybody that gets started today, I'm going to start you out so you guys don't have to wait to get this nutrition. And you're going to get those cute little pill boxes, you guys, from Juice Plus Promotions. And I think they'll hopefully have some new ones at conference that say Healthy Living Revolution. I'm praying. And I do a 5 of every capsule in those little boxes. And I have them, in like a tray. I have the tray of Juice Plus. I have a tray. I just grab my tray that I just have at my house. And I have those all on there and say, if you'd like to get started today, we're going to get you started today. And then while they're networking, I'm going around talking to people that are filling out their forms. And then I just say to them, it's kind of a no-brainer to sign up as a member, but that would mean that you're going to be taking care of your own order. So the only thing that I do require for that is that we do a getting started call. And that way I can show you, how to take care of your own order, but also what's possible. And then you can decide what you want to do with it, if anything at all. So it's just kind of a little buffer there. So there's no pressure. So comments, questions?
I think it's a good idea. I feel like in the past, I remember going to some, I guess, more like luncheons. So maybe they weren't the networking luncheons, So I think this is nice because then everybody gets an opportunity to share versus just going to a luncheon where it's a presentation. Because I remember doing those luncheons where we tried to keep them within that price range as well. But nobody else really shared. It was just a luncheon, and then we shared the information. So I think this is really nice because then everybody has that opportunity.
Well, and Jen, what you're thinking of is at the doctor's office luncheons?
No, we did some stuff like at Sweet Tomatoes early on.
Yeah, we did do this.
Remember?
It was the same thing, except for without the networking. But people loved those. We had 30 people in that room sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No. I thought they were good, too. But I think, also when you have, like, that piece involved where they know they sort of have a piece of the action kind of, and they get their opportunity to share a network, that I think that just kind of brings it even more for those professionals trying to build.
Yeah, and what I think you'll find will happen is if you close it correctly and you are confident about it, and again, don't be tied to, some people are going to be interested. Some people you're just planting seeds with there. Some people will give you referrals. Some people may already be on Juice Plus, whatever, right? And it's always good to have an amener in the room anyway. I think you'll find that last 15, 20 minutes, they end up talking about their health. And it's really interesting because you'd think they'd all be sharing cards and stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, my mom had this and my dad had a heart attack. And they all start talking about their health issues just because people love to talk about that. So that's what we found happened at almost every luncheon. And so, they're all excited about signing up and, and then we also then encourage them to, set appointments with each other and things like that so they can get to know each other even more. And then the goal is for the next luncheon is for you to have a slew of new people. Okay. We only ever let people come back maybe 2 or 3 times because we had a few people that they got so much business off of those networking luncheons. We had this realtor that loved to come. We finally had to kind of uninvite him because we wanted to have new people every time. And so anyway, if you guys are interested in more on how to do that or need assistance with that, please let me know. And, I love buddying up with somebody else if you can, because then maybe you're bringing in 3 people and somebody else is bringing in 3 people and somebody else is bringing in 3, right? That's kind of a nice thing, but it is really not that hard to fill up a table yourself. It does take picking up those cards and calling them, and you don't want to have 3 realtors at the lunch, right? You want to maybe have a mortgage person and a realtor and a banker, and that's different, right? So we had one where we had all network marketing people. We had the basket lady, the pan lady, the makeup lady, all of that. And that works great too, because we all love to support home-based businesses, right? So I know that if you guys get your little handy dandy notebook out, your little Blues Clues out, and start thinking about who do I know, who do I use for services, invite those people first. That would be a great starting point for you, right? Who does your nails? Who cuts your hair? Who services your car? Who'd you buy your car from? Things like that. Those are all great people to invite to your first one.
Reagan?
Yeah.
After we talked about this, I remembered in my drawer that I have, I don't know if you can, I can't even see myself.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I have all these cards of people that I have collected over the years. There's got to be 100 of them here. So I'm on a good.
You didn't have to clean the board off. You have your own in your house.
Right. Whole bunch already. So I think this is a great idea. I'm really excited to do it.
Yeah. It's fun.
I used to do these every month, and I never had anybody say no unless they couldn't make the date. Everybody was super excited to go and share and, be able to meet new people themselves. So it's fun to revise again. I think this will be great.
Don't you think? And Jenna, we can do that together if you want.
Yeah. I used to partner with one of my good friends. She does send out cards. And together we would do once a month, and she would invite her network of people and I would invite mine. And it actually worked out really nicely because she would invite like 10, I would invite 10, and we would end up, the day of about having 15 to 20, we'd have a huge table and having people ask us if they could come back again. And they were great. So
I would say, though, I think it's great that you were able to partner. I would say try to partner. You want to keep control of the lunch. You're the one doing the presentation, because whoever's doing the presentation is the one that's getting the orders. So, I mean, if you took
she would share 2 minutes too. Yeah, she knew how we did it.
Oh, okay.
I would do the presentation. She would.
Okay, good. Your baby, you get to choose, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Adam, do you think that could work for you? You're new up there in Indianapolis. That would be a great avenue for you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I haven't met many people since I moved up here, but I've talked to a couple neighbors about it.
Yeah, so go to the coffee shop and pull all those off the board, or the next restaurant you're in, or open up the phone book. I mean, honestly, you could Google, on Google, you can do chiropractors or medical professionals in a 2-mile radius from your house, and I bet you're going to get 2,000 results. Seriously.
Probably.
Or your chamber of commerce, your local chamber of commerce.
Yeah.
There's usually a drop down of different categories and niches.
Yep. And here's the other reason why you still want to join a networking group. And I know Sue goes to the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, that's a great one in your area to join the chamber, because that is also a great place to fill up your networking luncheons.
Oh.
Right? So think about that. Those people are all there because why? They want to share more about their businesses. And they'll love you for making that possible.
Is that something that you could maybe even just create like a meetup networking lunch in your area?
You could.
You can't control it as much. Like there's going to be somebody. I personally don't really believe we're in competition with anybody.
Right.
So why do I care if there's another nutritional product or whatever? We're food, nobody else's food. Huh?
Because they can totally jack up your lunch when you have that one person who is new to Plexus or whatever one it is.
Okay.
And they're like, oh yeah, well we do this, and I had this happen, and I can't remember what the company was, but it was like, oh yeah, but we do that, and our product's better because, or whatever. And she bantered me through my entire luncheon. So I wouldn't, if it were me, I wouldn't, just because you want to be the only nutrition person in the room. That's your advantage, right?
Right. Okay.
I mean, you could, but all of a sudden she's stealing your customers because she's, whatever. Or she's turning people off.
Right.
right? I mean, that happens sometimes too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like to use my laptop because I can pull it open. I can set it at the end of the table and I can just click through. If you want to get boards printed, you know, that might cost you $60 to do that, but it'd be worth it. You're going to make that back on, you know, a couple of orders from your luncheons. And if you're going to reuse them, it'd be a very good thing to invest in. So you guys game? You guys want to do them?
Yes. I think it sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you guys tonight, other than I'm going to stop the recording.